Peace and blessings, world, and welcome to another edition of Fresh Perspective, where we give you a new look on today's hot topics. And right now, actually, before we get started, just like to send a heartwarming, just our thoughts and prayers out to the people that are dealing with Hurricane Irma right now. Hopefully, everybody be safe, take care of your family, and I hope everybody makes it through well. But let's go to week one. First, before we go to week one, I would like to introduce our panel. My name is Irvin Hawkins. First, well, since his picture is up, let's go. Blueprint, how you feeling, man? Welcome back.
I'm feeling good, feeling great. How's everybody doing today?
Oh man, awesome. We got our brother all the way out there in the West Coast. We got the young and talented Mr. Courtney Chappelle. How you feeling, my brother?
What's the word, everybody? I'm all right. I can't complain. It's early on my side, but let's go.
All right, last but not least, we got the great orator and tactician, my good brother. I like to call him the GOAT, Mr. D Birds. How you feeling?
Hey man, it's week one. Chin strap buckle, mouthpiece in. Let's go to work.
All right, a lot of interesting things happened week one, but go since the camera's still on you, what was most important to you, or what stood out to you in week one?
Man, what stood out to me in week one was that it's football season. It's back and it's alive and pumping. I've seen a lot of good things, but one of the most intriguing stories is from my man Marshawn Lynch coming back to the NFL and looking
Beast
like
mode.
himself. Beast mode played and brought the kind of energy that I feel the Seattle Seahawks have been missing since he hasn't been the leader of that team. That was one of the most intriguing storylines for me.
Okay, nice. Shout out to Beast mode. Blueprint, my man Jeremy Flanagan. What stood out to you in week one?
What stood out to me in week one was the debacling of Kansas City putting that whooping on the New England Patriots.
I
Um,
enjoyed it, but go ahead, brother.
but not only that, it is week one, and within week one, saw a lot of sloppy play. But at the same time, you see some teams that can really be really good this season. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the rest of the year play out.
All right, young talent. Week one, what stood out?
For the most part, week one, you get I see a lot of offensive line issues, especially with the Giants, but like throughout the NFL, for the most part, a lot of premier quarterback offensive lines was shaky. A lot of it was shaky. Um, and it just didn't. I see a lot of like. There's a lot of teams that look really really good, but there's a lot of teams that out there that you could tell as the year progressed they might get stronger. But right now, it's just a lot about offensive line play. Right now, it looks kind of shaky. Maybe it's early, maybe it's rusty, and it's week one, but it didn't look the way I expected it to look for a lot of teams.
Well, let's dig into that shakiness a little bit. Do you think that's in due part to the way the CBA is constructed now, where the coaches have less time with the players, or you think it's just week one rust?
Um, I mean, you could blame time. You could blame time with the players not enough to really work with them one on one. I do see a little bit of rust. Um, defenses taking advantages of a couple people moved here, moved there. Um, but as far as CBA, let's go deeper than the time. I think the money value is starting to show its true hand in the NFL. A lot of these teams make way too much money for their cap to be so low. So they're not really able to pay. Like, you got to make a choice if you're gonna pay offensive weapons or you're gonna pay line, and that kind of sucks because you need both.
Well, that's the beauty of the NFL because it's all about coaching and good decisions. Blueprint, I see you over there waiting to get in, man. What do you think the shakiness is all about? Do you think it's CBA? Do you think it's the way everything is constructed? Or you think it's just Russ?
I think it's just rest. Usually the first couple of weeks of an NFL season, you really getting the starters who are actually getting playing time. They playing full games. They played either 1 or 2 quarters. So now, the first couple of weeks, they're gonna get them set. They could just getting their feet wet, and I believe, things are gonna really start picking up probably after week 5 or 6, maybe. That's just me.
Okay. And GOAT, I got a total different question for you. You know the NFL is any given Sunday, and you could have a team that was just straight garbage last year come out and emerge and be something special the next year. You know, you and I was talking about the Rams earlier today, but who is your breakout team this year? Like, who do you think is going to shock everybody and become, 10 times better than what they were last year?
Well, for me, this goes to the answer to both questions. I believe coaching matters, and nobody understands coaching matters until it matters. And I think those teams that look rusty or didn't look uh, a good version of themselves have to look at their coaches. Coach's job is to put their team in the best position to succeed. When the players are not delivering the game plan, you change the game plan until you figure out what is going to work with those teams. But to answer your second question, I think the surprise team for me is going to be the Los Angeles Rams. I think they're going to play with tremendous energy. I think they got rid of Jeff Fisher, who I believe is one of the problems.
Wow, that's powerful.
With that situation, just because he hasn't won anything. Thank God he had Steve McNair. Because if he didn't have Steve McNair, man, we wouldn't know nothing about Jeff Fisher. He probably
They didn't know about.
But I like the moves that the Rams have made.
They didn't play nobody.
Who didn't play anybody? The Rams? Oh, I know they played the Colts with no Andrew Luck, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about them as a overall team improvement. They will be better than they were last year, mainly because their coaches in there. They have a new coach, new beliefs, new system, and new personnel. Say what?
You just banging on the coach right now because clearly you cannot.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're gonna get a new coach too.
No, I got a question. Me getting a new coach. See, this is where it starts. My point on the Rams was you can't clearly watch that game and just believe because they played the Colts with no Andrew Luck and no defense and pretty much nothing that they're better. But I get it. You banging on the coach. We might end up with a new coach, but the problem is you had a tough time with the Bears, and you're the returning Super Bowl champion, and you shouldn't have a tough time with the fucking Bears because you can't name a cornerback over there.
Oh, hold on, real quick. First of all, they're not.
Ooh, that was good. That was good, Court.
Out of everybody team on this panel,
who's the quarterback?
My team won. That's number
quarterback.
One.
Who's the quarterback?
Number 2, Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan played well yesterday.
No. Who's the quarterback for the Bears?
Who is?
Quiet. So be quiet because you had a tough time with Mike Glennon.
What a tough time. Did you watch it? See, you haven't even watched the game. That was a good football game.
I don't.
We all know teams play well on the road. You have to.
But
better
Atlanta.
Am I right or am I wrong?
Well, D, talk about Atlanta's run game because they was 29th in the preseason and running the ball.
We could not.
And right now,
that's what I'm trying to tell Courtney. In order to dial up those big plays that we were dialing up last season, we were able to run the football with set up play action. We couldn't run the ball yesterday at all.
I'm not talking about your offense.
What are you talking about then?
Tell me why Mike Glennon almost beat you.
The reason why Mike Glennon almost beat us because the time of possession was almost even. Our defense was on the field. I don't care who you are, how good your defense is. If you're on the field long enough, people are going to score points on you.
All right, now hold on. Hey, Burks.
The only reason why the Giants give up more than 19 points yesterday is because they have the best defense or one of the top 5 defenses in the league. Any other team yesterday would have got ran out the stadium. They were on the field the whole game.
Hey, Burks, real quick. I know he pushed your buttons. He got you excited for Blueprint. I see you trying to make a point on this. What you trying to say?
No, I was just trying to figure out, a lot of people are saying that, Atlanta is going to be better than they was last year. And to me, I believe last year, the offensive coordinator had a lot to do good Atlanta was. And now that he's gone, we see the fact that they don't have a run game, so they're not able to set up that play action pass how they was accustomed to doing on last year, which I think is going to, perhaps be a problem if they can't get Devontae Freeman going. And I believe the fact that that they have now is not a guy in Tevin Coleman who they used to have who was really good. So I think that plays a factor in it as well. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Atlanta's going to do. I think they need to work on the time of possession, like D said. If you stay on the field a long time, we saw in the Super Bowl when we put up, points on them in the second half, but it's because we kept that defense on the field, and I see they have to get off the football field if they want to be able to be successful.
Well, oh yeah, go ahead, G.
The piggyback off that, just to comment off that, I think no team right now is an identity or the best version of themselves. I think the only team that's pretty much who they are and who they're going to be right now, that's an elite team, is the Cowboys. They're going to run the football. They're going to play action you. They're going to dink and dunk you. And then they're going to take their bomb shots to Dez Bryant. That's who they are. That's what they're going to be. They're not going to be anything else in between there. Yeah, they can get better defensively, but their best defense is
no, they won't. No,
their best defense is their offense.
They will not get better defensively, and they will get worse offensively.
How do you figure that?
Listen, amongst everything last night, right? Amongst us being on the field that long with no line, these niggas got one touchdown. You're
not hearing what I'm saying. That's because you got a top 5 defense. Everybody
Hey, Courtney, are you speaking with your heart? And hold on, the Ravens the Ravens will have a top 10, top 5 defense.
Man, get out of here. When Le'Veon and AB come to town, that's when we're gonna find out what you got. Because they come.
Listen. This is what I'm telling y'all about the Cowboys.
AJ Green came to town. 5 picks.
We talking about Andy Dalton, dog. Like, let's be for real. Andy Dalton and Big Ben. Come on, man. Let's not do that.
Let's do it.
Hold on now. AJ Green is a top player.
AJ Green is a top player in the league, but Andy Dalton isn't. And as long as he's their quarterback, they ain't winning nothing.
All right, y'all. We being disrespectful. Go ahead, young talent. Get your point off.
Nah, I'll let y'all rock. When the Philadelphia Eagles get to Dallas, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. When Washington get there, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. I think they get Tampa this year. You're gonna see what I'm talking about. That defense ain't good, and the offense is very basic.
I feel like you're talking with your heart, young talent. Yeah, I don't feel like you're using your analytical mind. I think you're talking.
He's not giving the Cowboy offense enough credit for being basic in the fact that they get first downs and they run the football. They control the line of scrimmage.
Can they close in the red zone yet?
Huh?
No.
That's because they played y'all. I can't believe that you're not giving your defense, which is arguably one of the top 5, if not the number 1 defense from secondary, linebacker, and D-line in the NFL. That defense is no different than Green Bay and Seattle. If Green Bay played anybody else outside of you guys and the Seahawks yesterday, they putting up 40. They put up 40. Y'all got a great defense.
When they see Philadelphia, you remember what you just said, and I'm going to tell you again.
I'm gonna remember. I'm gonna remember.
Okay.
All on them too.
And the beauty of a fresh perspective conversation is it's organic and it morphs into different places. So now we going into defense, and that's my realm right there. Shout out to the Baltimore Ravens. Young talent.
Defense. Tell me, Ray Lewis led defense.
Give me who's the top defense in the league right now? Week 1. Who do you say top defense in the league?
Who I say is top defense in the league?
Who do you say is the top defense in this league after week 1?
Ain't no top defense. It's just
Seattle looked good. Seattle looked good yesterday. With the amount of time they was on the field, they looked good.
Nah, it's a melting pot about 4 or 5. Seattle looked good. The Giants look good out there on defense. Until Eric Berry got hurt, the Chiefs looked good out there.
The Chiefs was rocking, boy. Jesus.
Yeah,
because they was rocking.
It's a few of them out there. It's a few bodies out there.
Okay, go ahead, D. Burtz. Where you say the top defenses? I agree. It's a melting pot. Give me some names.
Chicago looked good out there.
Chicago looked real good out there. John Fox is a defensive-minded coach, and they look good defensively. Their attention to detail yesterday was unreal. All those players, which goes back to my point in reference to coaching matters, those players were well prepared. They were where they were supposed to be, when they were supposed to be there. And also, John Fox did a good job of, and it also helped because we couldn't run the ball, keeping everything in front of them. The one deep play we had is because Matt Ryan made a play. Matt Ryan has been working on his athleticism the last couple of years, and man, he made a play to get that ball to Hooper. And then he hooped on that play. But I really like what Seattle did yesterday. Surprisingly, Green Bay defense, they were flying to the ball. They were moving.
Boy, if you don't stop, if you don't cut that shit out.
Hey, ain't nothing to cut out. That's not the same defense that they had last year in the playoffs. They got different personnel, and that D line was rocking. I don't care what you say.
Y'all gonna put up damn near 50 on their ass next week.
Okay. I think personally that I think the Atlanta Falcons took a huge hit by losing the offensive coordinator. Now, Steve Sarkisian, he did a good job of keeping the Atlanta Falcons offense, learning it, trying to master it, but he just not pulling the triggers yet.
Because he not calling the plays. I ain't gonna tell you that again. You're gonna stop trying to avoid that. It's on wax now.
I'm not avoiding anything. Matt Ryan is not calling the plays. Steve Sarkisian is still calling the plays.
This is
you
not.
Think Matt Ryan didn't play, man?
Excuse me, Steve Sarkisian is not calling them plays.
Who calling the plays, Court?
Matt Ryan.
So when Matt Ryan do like this in his head and get the play and then start talking, what is that?
He taking
what
suggestions.
Is that? Oh my goodness, no. The only quarterback in the history of this game that listened to suggestions was Peyton Manning. They gave him 5 options, he picked one. That's not happening with Matt Ryan. Stop that.
Excuse me. Do we got to pull up the footage?
Go ahead. Pull it up.
Matt Ryan himself said he's calling these plays.
Okay.
He's running this system.
All right.
So hold him accountable to him running this system.
I'm telling you what I saw yesterday. He wasn't calling anything. Steve Sarkisian was calling the plays. I'm telling you what I saw.
He just talking then. Okay.
That sound what it like to me. Running that mouth.
and you guys are listening to Fresh Perspective, man. We talking about week 1. Personally, what I saw from Matt Ryan, well, I only got a chance to really focus in on the first half, but Matt looked sharp, man. He looked like he was still in MVP form, and that's going to be an offense to reckon with. I just agree with you guys. Chicago has a very strong defense, and they shouldn't be slept on. But please, don't sleep on the Atlanta offense. If you come through and you're not ready, they're gonna embarrass you. Don't sleep on that Atlanta offense.
I'm telling you right now, Hawk, if we cannot run the football, then we would no longer be the explosive Atlanta offense that we was last season. You have to be able to run the football to get the mismatches to set up the big shot plays. We couldn't take no shots last night because we couldn't run the ball. Wasn't no play action bombs, nothing. The one big play we had was because Matt Ryan made a play. And the guy
what's wrong with y'all running game?
We're a perimeter zone running team, and the edge running on the Bears, it ain't happening. They was locking that up. You got to go right at them, and that's not how the Falcons run. We run zone. We run at the angles. We attack angles. We attack certain points of the defense, and if we can't set the edge, we're not going to be able to run the ball. We're going to have to change that up.
Yeah, no doubt. So let's wrap this show. Let's wrap this week 1 show up, man. What's your overall feeling, man, after week 1? How do you feel about this up and coming season? And what should the fans be looking for? Young talent. Go ahead, finish this up, brother.
It's gonna be a pretty good season. It's gonna be an interesting season. I don't think we're just gonna have no outright wipeouts, just blowing somebody out. I think it's going to be a tough competitive season. I think a lot of things are going to go down to the wire towards the end to figure out playoff spots. I think it's going to be a solid season. Before I let it go, though, disappointed in the Houston Texans defense. They made the Jaguars look like fucking elite defense. They made Tom Coughlin look like he needs to be executive of the year or something.
Hey, Leonard Fournette is the truth, but go ahead.
I am proud of nigga, please. I am proud the Houston Texans going ahead and taking Tom Savage out and putting Deshaun Watson in. He might as well get a spot, and they got to start rocking and rolling.
Okay, and that's the final perspective for young talent. D. Burtz, what's your final perspective, sir?
Well, to piggyback on what Court just said about the Houston Texans, it all goes back to them being on the field. Tom Savage did not get the job done. He didn't look good. Jacksonville lost their number one receiver and still was able to dominate that game because they was on the field a lot. And if you're on the field, you're gonna get to work. But as far as this season goes, I look forward to being an interesting season. Even though we got about 6 teams, we still got to see. We still got to see what the Dolphins are going to look like with Jay Cutler. We still got to see what my main man Drew Brees is going to do tonight with AP. We got to see what their running game with him and Mark Ingram is going to look like. We still got to see. We still got to see Denver. We got to see what Denver and their quarterback situation is going to look like. We still got to see what Phillip Rivers is going to muster up tonight with the Chargers in LA now. And we still got to see what Jameis Winston and Tampa Bay is going to look like, because that is one of the scariest rosters in the league, and I want to see what Tampa Bay look like. Also, yesterday looked good for him. He still got a long way to go. They did display the new offense yesterday. He didn't run a lot at all, and they did a good job of getting Christian McCaffrey touches. So I look forward to seeing what that's going to look like in the future as well.
Okay, and last but not least, Blueprint. What is your final perspective after week 1, and what are you looking forward to in this new season? Okay, still having some technical difficulties on his end. I guess I'll sum it up like this. I feel like, after this year's draft, I felt like a lot of people had strong drafts and a lot of teams got better. And just looking at some of the rookies like the Tariq Cohens, the Leonard Fournettes, the Cooper Kupps, the Corey Davis, it's a lot of good rookies in this league today. And I feel like the last year's draft, this 2017 draft, is going to prove to be one of the great ones in the next coming years. So you guys were watching Fresh Perspective. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll see y'all next time. Peace and blessings.